Good morning, ATD family. We are back for another episode. It has been a crazy week in baseball. We had a team that was in fourth place, now in second. We got a team that was in second, now in fourth, now in third. Astros somehow figured it out. And man, what's going on with those Tigers? We're going to talk about it all. It's Grand Slam Sam. It's Baseball Bill. We're going to start this off as we always do. Baseball Bill, how are you doing on this beautiful Saturday morning?
I am doing fantastic. I'm ready to talk a little baseball. We got some great topics today. It's been a fantastic week. So I'm excited.
Yeah, and I'm sure you are just like so ecstatic that your team made it out of that game last night in Arizona by the skin of their teeth.
First place, baby.
Hey, maybe in first place, but that game could have gone either way.
Yes, sir. That's
Yes,
very
indeed.
true. Very true statement.
So we got to thank our sponsors, as we always do. Thank you, Gravity Red Productions and Lang Roofing. Gravity Red Productions is an amazing production company. They do everything from Instagram live videos all the way to full-blown movie productions. They are the exclusive production company of Top Band Rivalry, and we can't thank them enough for what they do. Bill, what Lang Roofing? I can't say enough about it. I know they are like your BFFs beyond more.
Yeah, the owner is a friend of mine. The prior owner was a mentor of mine. These guys are absolutely fantastic. They do great work. You're looking for something in SoCal, hit these guys up, man. These guys are cool.
If I get an opportunity to finally ever move out to SoCal, which would be a very oddity for me, being that I'm a Giants fan, if I have a roof that needs to be done, I will
You're calling
personally
these
call
guys.
them and say, Baseball Bill told me you'd give me a 30% discount.
Ah, yeah. Let's start there.
Yeah. I mean, look, I was going to go with the friends and family 50% discount, but I'll be generous and go with 30.
Generous. Good. I'm glad you're generous.
I'm going to take you through the American League this week. Yankees are still on top, riding high with 22 wins, 16 losses. Red Sox 50-50. Man, they are looking strong at 500, but only 3 games behind those Yankees. They are coming out for them. Blue Jays at 18 and 20. Tampa Bay Rays at 17 and 21, and the Orioles at 14 and 23. Moving into the AL Central, we got the Tigers 26 and 13, the hottest team in baseball. We are going to talk about them later in the show. Guardians 23 and 15, Royals 24 and 16. I said don't sleep on them, and I'm going to keep saying don't sleep on them. Minnesota Twins 19 and 20, and the White Sox 11 and 28. They are not a single digit win team right now. There's only one of those, and we'll talk. Bill will talk about those Colorado Rockies when we get to the National League. Looking at the AL West, Mariners still on top with 22 wins and 15 losses. Astros back in second place, looking to inch their way up into that leaderboard spot with 19 and 18. Athletics 20 and 19. Rangers 18 and 21. And the Los Angeles Angels, where you were taken in the game last night, Bill, 15 and 22. Bill, take me through the AL. What are your thoughts?
Look at the central. Well, first of all, the Red Sox are 20 and 20. That's a little surprising to me. We will talk about them in a second when we talk about injury reports. But look at the Central. They are red hot. 8 and 2, 8 and 2, and 9 and 1. Tigers, Guardians, and Royals the in their last 10 games. And so that's interesting to me. And then you go over to the AL West. The Mariners are just playing very good ball right now. The Athletics and the Astros are going to kind of duke it out all season. I was at the game last night. It felt very much like a Friday game, but it felt like people were going there not for the game. They were going there just to hang out and do things that the I texted a guy that usually goes to about 35 games a year, and
Yeah.
he said, I'm done with this team, not happy with it. I mean, and how badly they've started, I probably won't. And
Yeah.
this is a guy that goes with it. Like that's the cool thing on Anaheim. Um, they started out, they had a very good first couple of weeks of April, a very bad last couple of weeks of April, and they're starting May off not looking good.
Yeah. Do the Angels just need to, as the year progresses for the Angels, do they just need to look at this and say we need to hit the reset button from start from the bottom up and just clear out?
No, they actually have a really good team. Zach Neto is really, really good at shortstop. Um, their new first baseman that they brought up, Noah, I can never say his name correctly, so I won't even try. They have Jorge Soler. I, rumor has it they might be getting Mike Trout back this weekend, this Sunday, or tomorrow, I should say. Um, they've got a good team. Logan O'Hoppe is killing the ball right now. The problem is they're not winning. Either they're hitting very good or they're pitching very good. They're not doing it in the same game. Issue that you run in there, Sam, with all that is you're not going to be able to recruit talent to come to Anaheim until you start winning. So you're going to have to do it with the guys that you draft. Hopefully you do well. I mean, remember they had two of the best guys on the planet 2 years ago in Shohei Ohtani and Mike Trout, and they still couldn't win.
Yeah. Now, I mean, but again, looking at the Angels, they're 130. They've only scored 136 runs. They've allowed 200, so they have a 64 runs scored to allowed differential. Um, you know, projected based on what they've done, they really should be 20. They should really be 12 and 25. They've been lucky to win those extra three games. What do you think it's going to take for the Angels to kind of turn this around and, like you said, start to recruit top tier talent to come to that team and really take them to the next level?
They got to do is they've got to turn it around. To turn it around, they've got to win 3 or 4 series in a row and make the fans believers and have the fans get behind them. Last night, they didn't get their first hit until the fourth inning. At the end of the fourth inning, the opposing pitcher for the Orioles, who has a worse record than the Angels, at the end of the fourth inning, he had thrown 39 pitches. Um, I mean, it was just crazy. Now the Angels got first and second. Zach Neto came up in the seventh, and he had a 10 pitch battle. And it was a great. I'm sorry, in the eighth, it was a great battle, and I think he had 12 pitches. The fans got into it a little bit then, but for the most part, the Orioles hit a home run in the first inning. In the second inning, they scored two and they left the bases loaded, and the fans were completely out of the game. It was
Yeah.
like, what can I go get? What kind of concessions can I get? Yada yada yada.
Yeah. When you've got to bring excitement, you've got to bring energy to not only on the field, but that energy you bring to the field, it comes in, it then, rolls over into the fan base. And if you're not able to have that same level of energy, you're not going to survive. You just won't. So I'm hoping for the Angels to turn it around. Maybe Mike Trout coming back and reignite a spark for them. But at the same time, Trout, you got to stay healthy, my friend. You cannot get injured.
Yeah,
You That is where your downfall resides.
yeah, 100%.
Um, out of these three divisions, best division in the American League.
Central,
Yeah,
Central,
most team,
Central.
most 20 team wins in the most teams with 20 wins in all of American League. So AL West, AL East, your title could be coming over to the Central this year. It may not be going to one of you guys.
Yeah.
Just is. Bill, take me to the NL.
Mets are dominating right now. They are having fun with people. They're dominating. Philly's not far behind though. Phillies said hold our Gatorade. We're ready to go. The Braves are starting, stopping, starting, stopping, starting, stopping. Obviously, the Marlins are doing Marlin things, and the Nationals are in a rebuild mode. But they've got a really good young core. Dylan Cruz, James Wood. We've talked about these guys before. Mackenzie Gore is leading the MLB in strikeouts. I mean, are you kidding? Um, the Central is an interesting thing because the Cardinals have been quietly getting better, 8-2 in the last 10. Um, I picked the Reds to win that division, and I still think that it's a toss-up. The Reds are only 3.5 games behind. Opportunity there. As Sam has asked me to, I will refer to the Dodgers as America's team for the time being.
That's a
Um,
lie. That's a lie. That's a lie.
I'm just teasing. I'm teasing. Dodgers are 7-3 in their last 10. They've struggled on this road trip. They've won their first series. They won 2 out of 3 in their first series. They went over to Atlanta and won I'm sorry. They won 2 out of 3 in Atlanta. They won 2 out of 3 in Miami. Now they're 1-1 with this series. The Dodgers are staying home. The Padres are trying to stay there. The Giants are playing really, really good baseball. Diamondbacks, don't sleep on those guys. And the Colorado Rockies at 6-32 are currently on pace. They are currently on pace to lose 130 games.
Yeah. Where the
So
Giants are on pace to win 102 games. So I'll take it. I'll
the
take it.
Giants haven't played America's team yet, so we'll see how that plays out.
Well, America's team hasn't played the Giants yet either, so just remember that.
There you go. Take us through it, Sam.
Yeah, looking on my end, right now you can't sleep on the Cardinals. You
No.
can't. They are just playing great baseball. They're really just playing fundamental baseball. They're not doing anything special. They're not cranking out home runs left and right. They're not, coming up and doing, anything spectacular. They're just playing great fundamental baseball out there in St. Louis. So watch out for those Cardinals. They are going to be a team that I think is going to shock more than we all expected. I don't disagree with you that the Reds could lead in that division, but it's going to be a battle, I think,
Mhm.
across the entire NL Central, maybe excluding the Pirates, unfortunately, for how that's going to shake out. I'm
Right.
not feeling confident in any of those teams taking a wild card spot at this point. But for whoever is going to win that division, it's going to come down to the last 2 months of the season if it keeps going at the level it's going now. When I look at the NL East, I mean, like you said, the Mets are just on fire. Shohei is playing great. Francisco Lindor is just doing unbelievable things in the field. The pitching has just been on point. You cannot, we all expected the Mets to be this good, and they are proving their worth. And then when you
Yes.
look at the West, I mean, look, the National League West is hands down the best division in all of baseball.
Mhm.
Not like I don't even think the American League could touch the way the National League West is playing right now. I don't think there's any team in the American League that could touch them.
Mhm.
I think if you were to put any team in the American League up against the Dodgers, the Padres, the Giants, or the D-backs in a 3-game set, the Dodgers, the Padres, the Giants, or the D-backs will win against any of the AL teams.
Mhm.
And if the season were to end today, the World Series championship is staying in the National League. And it's coming to the West. That's the way I project it.
In
Uh,
blue, you're right.
when you look specifically at the NL West, and this is not me being homers for you and I, but is, is there something that's happening that's like really just driving the NL West to really just be that level above every other division in baseball?
Not at all. Not at all. They're just playing good baseball right now. Where the rubber's going to meet the road with the Dodgers, the Padres, and the Giants is the month of June. Because in the month of June, if I'm not mistaken, the Dodgers, the Giants for 3 games and the Padres for 7 games. And I know that the Padres and Giants battle it out, I believe, in June as well. So these are going to be very they're going to be very tough games in June. So in May, you need to take advantage of everything you can.
Yeah. And looking at the Dodgers schedule specifically, just looking at what they've dealt with so far to what's coming up,
Mhm.
the month of June is going to be the biggest test for the Dodgers. It's going to be the biggest test because as of right now, the Dodgers are like you said, they have the Yankees they in June. They have the Mets in June. They have the hot Cardinals in June. They have the hot Padres in June. The Giants in June. They get a little bit of a reprieve with the Nationals and then going into a Rocky season and then into the Rockies. So a couple of and then those are two six 3 game sets that the Dodgers should easily sweep. But then you have the Royals who have been on freaking fire in the last 10 games. So if I am the Dodgers, I agree with you. You have to dominate now and just put your lead far above the rest in the West. Because when you hit June, if the Padres and the Giants are still playing the way they're playing, it's going to get it is going to be a battle for them in the month of June.
Yeah. Yeah, it is definitely going to be a battle. It's going to be an interesting one indeed. Weather heats up. Rumor has it that Kershaw will be back. It looks like Tyler Glass now will be back by then. Blake Snell might even be back by then. So those will be key components, right? You got to be able to pitch good. There's no question that the Dodgers, Padres, and or the Giants can hit. The question is can you pitch on them?
Couldn't agree more with you, my friend. Couldn't agree more. Looking at this injury report, now we're as the injury report starts to progress and we move through the season, we are going to start seeing more of what we're seeing on this injury report, like we see today. Guys out for the season. Danny Young out with an elbow injury for the season. AJ Minter out with a lat injury for the season. Connor Scott for those Royals out with an undisclosed injury. Kind of concerned about that. We'll monitor that Connor Scott injury and see if that undisclosure goes to something that is disclosed. Chris Bryant, though, out till the beginning of July. I mean, the Rockies haven't been doing anything. If I'm the Rockies, I'm looking at possibly using Chris Bryant as trade bait when he gets back before the trade deadline.
Who's
Going
going to
through,
want him? He's played like 12 games in the last 4 seasons.
yeah, but it's Chris Bryant. He's a household name. You want to bring a guy in that can help develop some young third baseman up. I think Chris Bryant is still the guy you might want to look at. So that's where I see Chris Bryant as being trade bait, or you just want to get some young rookies in. You want to get some draft picks in. I think Chris Bryant is that guy you look at if you're on the Rockies team to say, hey, it's time to cut our losses. It's time to make an investment somewhere else. Let's unload some dead weight and let him go off and see if he can win another championship like he did with Chicago. And then Tristan Casas for Boston out with a knee injury for the rest of the season. Bill, out of these 5 injuries, most impactful of the list.
Chris Bryant is obviously impactful, and I just looked it up. He's got 3 more seasons under contract with the Colorado Rockies at 27 mil tickets a season. So he's going to be a hard move for a guy that has not played very much. I mean, this is a dude who played 11 games last season, played 37 games the season before, and 80 games the season before that. He is not broken. He has not broken 100-game season since 2021. So it's going to be hard to move him. I think the Colorado Rockies are stuck. They're probably not happy. They're probably getting the Anthony Lynn for the Angels, maybe not that bad. But probably Chris Bryant and Tristan Casas. Those two are going to hurt. That hurts Boston quite a bit.
Yeah, I couldn't agree more. Boston, who's at 500, they're still making waves, but Tristan Casas has really been a showstopper for them at first base. And to have that guy out for the season, especially with how young he is going to impact them. Obviously, we wish him nothing but the best. We want him to get healthy and we want him to come back next season and dominate. But with the high expectations the Red Sox had this year going into it, with him being one of their top prospect sensations coming up into the league, it is a hurt to them. It definitely is a hurt. Unfortunately, but to all of the guys on the injury report, we hope you get back soon. We hope you are healthy and we hope you are happy. And we will see you next year on the diamond.
Yeah.
Bill, take me through my sponsors one more. Take me through my
Oh,
sponsors again, because
Gravity
these
Red Productions are amazing. These guys are great. We love them. They do a lot. I have it on good authority that we will be filming with them either at the end of this month or sometime in early June. And then we got Lang Roofing. These guys are amazing. They do a lot of great things in the roofing area. And it's just there's both companies are fantastic. Both companies are fantastic.
can't say enough about these guys. Thank you for supporting and sponsoring Top Fan Rivalry and ATD so we can provide all of our fans with the best baseball content on the internet.
On the internet.
Let's look at the stolen base count. We had a drastic increase in stolen bases, and one man that can barely hit a baseball is taking advantage of everything he gets when he hits first base. O'Neal Cruz and Lou Bob are tied for 15 stolen bases. Lou Bob can't hit the blind side of a baseball right now, but boy, when that man does get on base, he is taking advantage of everything that comes his way. Everything that comes his way. It is just ridiculous to see what Lou Bob is doing. And just to kind of showcase this, Lou Bob is had what is it? 24 hits out of how many plate appearances has he had? I can't even see how many plate appearances he's had. Oh, Lou Bob has had 152 plate appearances with 24 hits, meaning more than less when he gets on base, he's stealing it. So if I am the pitcher or I am the catcher playing against the White Sox, seeing Lou Bob get on base, I am prepared either out of the squat or on the mound to pick him off. And if you aren't preparing to do that, you are losing. You are losing.
You're
Lou Bob
losing.
won't steal on you. And that's just it. And he is not the fastest guy, but he is just taking advantage of it.
He's
He's
not
a
the
big.
fastest guy, but he is definitely taking advantage of the opportunity.
Oh yeah. Ellie De La Cruz at 14 stolen bases. And my boy, Bobby Witt Jr., finally making his appearance on the
Oh,
stolen base leaderboard with 13 stolen bases. It's good to see the man there. He was there last year. He's back on this list this year, and he is just starting to hit his stride on the base path. So I do not see this number dropping. Honestly, between you and me, ATD fans, I'm going to throw out a big Hail Mary, and Bill's going to think I'm crazy. But I think Bobby Witt Jr. is going to be the stolen base leader this year.
I don't disagree with you. I don't
That's my
disagree with
call
you.
out. I think Bobby Witt Jr. is going to lead all of MLB in stolen bases. I think he's going to have upwards of 45 stolen bases. And I think he's going to just put the rest of the league to shame when it comes to it.
The shame.
To shame!
The shame.
We are at 928 total stolen bases for the year. Last week, we were at 778, so an increase of 150 stolen bases. Bill, are we going to break 3,617 stolen bases?
So I'm gonna let's see. So you got June, July, August, September, right?
Yeah.
So um I am going to say yes. If I just take 150 and times it out by four, which is 600, times that out by four, that's 2,400. We have already broken that if we stay on the current pace. You're there.
Well, let's hope we stay there. And I am praying to God that my Hail Mary call out comes to fruition because I will feel really embarrassed if I am wrong.
Yeah,
The
it wouldn't
only
be the first
person who
time or the last that either one of us has been embarrassed.
yeah, it's going to be close, but yeah, I think Bobby Witt is just going to take that spot, and I think people will be shocked.
Yeah, probably. Probably.
Let's go with the home run count. You know why? Because there's four guys on the home run count that all have 12 home runs. Four of them.
Mhm.
And the benefit to this four people having it is that the guy that was leading last week is still tied for the lead this week, and I didn't have to change the background on the slide presentation this week. Let's go. I got a win this week. Cal Riley, Aaron Judge, Kyle Schwarber, and Showtime Shohei Ohtani are all sitting there pretty with 12 home runs. Corbin Carroll on their heels with 11. On the heels with 11. So we had 184 total home runs in the last week. We are at 1,214 home runs. Currently, last week we were at 1030. Bill, are we going to beat it?
No,
Are we going to get close?
no,
Are we going to beat 5,400?
no.
You think we're going to be less than last year's home run count?
I do. I do. If I just play the math out right now, unless as the weather heats up, unless we start getting into 200 weeks, right now we're looking at possibly even being below 5,000.
Ooh, ooh, is that your big call out?
No, 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 no. My big call out right now is that the home run count from last year at 54, 53, we are below that.
Okay. Do you think we'll break 5K though?
Yes,
Okay. So the dog days of summer will definitely give us a jump, but not enough to beat the 5,400 mark.
correct, correct.
I can agree with that. I think that's a fair assessment. I think as we start to see more guys get come back from injury and we start to see some guys get called up that we've been expecting to be called up
Mm-hmm, mm-hmm.
that have power. I do see this taking a big leap. I see us getting more into the 220, 230 range per week in home run counts going into June, July, and August. But I agree with you. I think we'll break 5K. I am projecting in my mind probably in the 52.5, 5,300 range for home runs, but I agree. I think we are not going to break 5,400 this year. I think we will be below that, but it's going to be a close battle. So we will see how that goes, my friend. We will see.
We'll see. Let's see.
Here's my first topic for today. Bill, we in spring training, we saw something that I think all of us as baseball fans have been wanting for a long time, but the Umpires Association has been dreading to come to fruition. And we are now seeing more as we go through the season, a lot of major discrepancies happening.
Yeah.
Are umpires taking things way too far this year when it comes to baseball?
Um, so it was funny because I knew we were going to talk about this morning. So I paid attention when they announced the umpires were you. I hadn't heard of any of them. All four of them I hadn't heard of, which is good. I am not supposed to know who the umpires are, right? I never bought a ticket to a baseball game and said, I'm buying this ticket because so and so is going to be umpiring at second or at third. Umpires should never insert themselves. Last night at home plate, there was a bunch of calls that looked like strikes or looked like balls. And where we were sitting, we had a really good seats last night, but there was a TV above us. And so I look in the little square because the TV is delayed by like a second, right? I look in the little square and a lot of calls last night. You have a number of now. fan sites. I can think of a couple on X that do like umpire auditing.
Yep.
Um, you have a number of people now with the cameras everywhere to make sure that the umpires are being held accountable, which I think is good because an umpire should never insert themselves into a game. We should not know who they are at the end of the night.
100%. I am seeing more and more umpires really being soft
Mm,
when it comes to taking criticism.
mm,
They are ejecting more players and coaches with minimal conversation. I am seeing outlandish calls behind the plate where the umpires are calling what are clearly ball strikes and clearly strikes balls. I am seeing umpires on third and first not even watching the players swinging and still calling it a swing. Are umpires bitter to the
I don't know if
fact
they're, I don't
that
know if
eagle
they're
eye
bitter.
has become more of a thing?
I don't know if they're bitter. I do not know if umpires are bitter. Here's what I think. Um, here's what I think. I think they are under a lot of pressure, right? And I know that the league has you have a report that you do at the end of a series based on your calls and things like that. And it's really easy if you're on the base paths, those reports are easy. When you're behind the plate, justifying certain calls or the batter out or anything of that nature. I know that those things happen. Sam, what I really think, and I don't know this, but what I really think is they're under more pressure because they're being more scrutinized by fans, just like the players are. We saw a situation this last week where Fernando Tatis Jr. had a bad call on an at bat, and then eventually ended up striking out like 2 pitches later in New York. And I don't know what he said to the umpire, but the umpire immediately ejected it, which is fine. If you want to immediately eject somebody, totally fine. Because I don't know what he said, right? You also had another situation where an umpire who's known for making bad calls was making bad calls at the plate, and I won't mention names, but Max Scherzer acted like in the dugout that he was flipping a coin to decide like whether it was a ball or a strike. Unprofessional Max, terribly funny, but unprofessional Max. And I'm surprised the umpire didn't toss him. I mean,
Yeah.
he was sitting there after every pitch, acting like he's flipping a coin saying strike or ball. And so, I don't
Do
like it, Sam.
no, and I agree with you. I mean, yes, players need to be professional, and I agree with you to the sense that umpires feel like they are under pressure, but you're getting paid hundreds of thousands of dollars a year
Mhm.
to make the right call. And again, I'm not saying every call is going to be right. Every umpire is going to have a bad game. They're going to make a wrong call. And players can be understanding of every now and then there being a wrong call.
Mhm.
But does the Umpires Association need to more take a look internally at their processes and say, we need to hold our umpires more accountable to how they're calling games and ensuring they're being fair, rather than just allowing them this free for all to do what they want because they've hit their like tenure point and they can't be let go?
No, they accountability is always a good thing in any type of professional sport. Accountability is a good thing. I watched a documentary 2 weeks ago that had come out on Netflix about, and I won't mention the referee's name, but a referee who was gambling on basketball games that he was calling. Accountability always, always, always needs to come into play. There should never not be a situation where there's accountability. There always needs to be accountability. And so that being said, yeah, the umpires are an interesting breed. I mean, you mentioned this right, and I'm going to say that some umpires make into the seven figures because what a lot of these guys will do in the off season is they'll do speakers bureaus. So they'll be hired by a corporation to come speak about, for an hour at one of their sales conferences or whatever. And they'll charge 20, 30, 40, 100 grand to do that. Um, I looked it up recently, and a tenured senior umpire make upwards of $450,000 a year. So you're making a $500,000 a year.
Yeah. Do you think going into next season,
Uh-huh.
Eagle Eye will be active during the season and teams will have the ability to call a review like they
No,
did in spring training this year?
as much as as much as the umpiring is driving me crazy, I personally I don't want that. In fact, I want to take review away except for home runs, except for foul or fair home runs and fan interference home runs. I I miss the days of Lou Piniella going out and screaming at the umpire because he legitimately made a bad call. Um, everything is about being fair right now. What I do think you can do is very similar to other professions, is you can have a umpire have a forced retirement.
Okay.
Okay, so I mean there are some professions that when you hit a certain age, you are forced to retire. Maybe that's the trick. Maybe a guy that comes up in the majors and is 33 years old, maybe when he's 65, maybe the number is 65, I don't know. But though he has all the experience in the world to be an umpire, maybe he's not an on-field umpire anymore. Maybe he's in New York,
Yeah, there are
right?
places you could go. And one last question on this. Since you said you don't want to see eagle eye where players can review if a pitch is a ball or a strike, would you want to see would you want to see a challenge availability on swing or no swing?
No, 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 because again, you're taking that. So last night, I there was only four times where the umpire at first base, because they were all on first base, they're all right-handed batters were. The umpire at first base was asked if the batter swung, and all four of them he got it right. I was looking on the TV. All four of them he got it right.
Yeah. And I'm not saying they're all and look, I'm not saying it needs to be reviewable every time. But there are some I remember watching last year or 2 years ago, Bryce Harper, at the plate, didn't even go didn't even go a third of the way in his swing. And Angel Hernandez called it a strike. And
Yeah.
I'm looking at this and I'm like, there has to be, I think, stricter restrictions around allowing certain umpires to umpire in certain roles.
Yep.
If your ball to strike call differential is not upwards of at minimum 85%, I don't think you should be allowed to ump behind the plate. Personally, I think that's the way it should be. You should be held accountable to ball to strike percentage of what you can call a ball and what you can call a strike before you make a determination and before you're allowed to ump behind the plate. If you can't
Yeah.
call at least 85 pitches out of 100 accurately, you should not be calling balls and strikes. You can call on field stuff. You can call a but you could I'll give you the ability to call if a batter swung or not, but I will not trust you behind the plate to make the accurate call.
I agree.
I
I agree.
think
That's a good
that
point.
is where the Umpires Association and MLB need to come together and put those stricter stringencies in place for them.
I agree.
We said earlier when we were going through the AL standings that the Tigers are the hottest team in baseball, and that is at this point in the game not a lie. Nothing to take away from what Bill calls America's team. That will always be the Yankees, whether you like it or not. For
Yeah.
baseball. Yeah, it is, and you know it. But let's just take a look at this. The Tigers are on the prowl, and they are just eating away at their competition. They are 26 and 13 in there since the start of the season. They have scored 210 runs. They've allowed 126, 84 runs scored to allow differential, the best run scored to allow differential in all of baseball. They are winning in both home and away games, 14 and 3 in home games, 12 and 10 in away games. And in teams against that are over 500, they are 10 and 9. What is it about this Tigers team that just has them chomping?
Um, so the resurgence of Javi Baez being able to hit, I think, is one of them. Um, the resurgence of the young kids like Colt Keith, um, he's starting to get it done, but Riley Green has been absolutely amazing. And then you have a good 1-2 punch on the mound between Skubal and Jack Flaherty. So you've got guys that can pitch and they're hitting. Obviously, they're not letting a lot of runs go. I think 126 might be more runs than the teams like the Rockies have scored all year, which is sad, right? But yeah, it
It is.
is
It is. The Rockies have scored 124 total runs this season. Now,
just saying.
now, shockingly, the Pittsburgh Pirates have only scored 121 runs this season, yet they're 13 and 26.
Yeah. So but these guys are doing well. They they do have one or two hiccups that they're going to have to overcome. They have a young kid who was brought up this year who is frustrated with ownership because he feels like ownership lied to him on some things and he went public with it. But he's batting like a buck 10. So you can't when you're a rookie, you can't make fun of ownership, right?
Yeah.
Especially not when you're batting a buck 10. But
Yeah.
the Tigers are I picked them to win this division. The Tigers are here to stay. The Tigers are here to stay, Sam.
What could cause the Tigers to hit a skid?
Um, bad for them, just mental mistakes. Right now, physically, they're doing everything right. But if you go mental mistakes, they make an overthrow, they cost themselves a run, they get in their heads a little bit. There might be, there might be that. Now, they do have you looked at their June schedule, Sam?
I have not looked at their June schedule. I'll pull that up now while you start talking about it.
Yeah, their June schedule is going to be interesting as well because these are, again, the Tigers are beating up on teams that they need to help. But when you look at their schedule going forward, right now they're playing the Rangers and the Rangers are struggling. They're playing Boston, but then they got a red hot St. Louis. You go into their June schedule. KC, 4 games with the White Sox, 3 games with the Cubs, 3 games with the Baltimore, 3 games with the Reds. Um, they've got the Pirates, they've got Tampa Bay, they've got the A's, they got the Twins. You look at their June schedule says, let's expand our league here, right? You got to, but if they're not winning against, if they lose, that may get in the head and cause a little bit of something to happen. I don't see that happen. I think Tigers are going to stay hot.
Yeah, I mean, right now, when you're looking at everything going on in that Tigers organization compared to the other teams in that division, they are they have probably the easiest schedule between now and September. I just did a quick look at what their schedule looks like between now and September. And September looks to be the toughest month they're going to have in the entire season. They've got more teams at the 500 or over mark. Um, and that's when it's really going to get down to the nitty gritty because we're right at postseason. So I think for the Tigers, it's all about staying healthy. It's all about staying consistent, um, playing your game and just that, not letting it get to you and taking it for granted. A lot of teams, what we end up finding is when they start to have success, sometimes they take it for granted. And they're like, oh, well, if we're having this much success, it should just be really easy for us to just keep it going. And once you start to have that mentality, that's when the chips start to fall. So if
Yep.
I'm the Tigers, I'm their manager, I'm going into the saying we just have to keep playing our game. Let's not change what we're doing. Let's not change the approach. Let's just keep playing great fundamental baseball from start to finish, having good base running ability, having great pitching, having solid defense, and hitting any ball that goes over the plate that we can get in play. Would you agree?
100%. Keep playing fundamentals, stay out of your head.
Hey, that's all you can do. Bill,
Yep.
you have a great podcast schedule for us this week, and we actually get to
Yes.
talk about it because we weren't cut short, unlike last week. No ill will towards Bill, but we did have some technical difficulties, couldn't complete the show, but we are able to get through it this week. So we're gonna run through this podcast schedule because it is a doozy. Bill, take me
Yes.
through it.
American League with Ashley Monday, Tuesday. Kyle, welcome to the clubhouse. Orioles fan. And then Audrey, A's fan. And we got Unraveling Baseball with Mike from Heads Up Sports Cards. And then Friday, we still got open. We had somebody that we were going to be recording with, but they had to reschedule. So we'll surprise you on Friday. Tell you
I
what's up.
love that. I love a little surprise episode. Maybe we do a little throwback episode. Take it back a little style. Go with some vintage podcasts that you might
Maybe
have.
vintage. Maybe throw it on back.
Yeah, hey, look, we might be throwing out a podcast from 2022, but it's always good to hear from the past. The past makes the present even more valuable as we move forward, right?
Might not be a bad idea.
Vintage Fridays could become a thing. Maybe.
Vintage Fridays might become a thing, although I think that Rachel and Delaney and Dave Schaefer might want to argue with that, but we'll see.
We'll see. As well, you got some great stuff going on X and Instagram this week. As always, on X every Thursday, TFR, it's sports talk, it's fan involved, 7 p.m. Pacific Coast time. Make sure you are checking it out. Bill and Megan are talking all things, every sport, no limitations in the leagues every Tuesday and Thursday with Baseball Bill, and every now and then he brings a special guest on. You've got a series recap with Mikey and Baseball Bill this Wednesday, coming Wednesday at 7 p.m. Pacific Standard Time, and a special guest on Monday, a special Instagram Live on Monday with Bill's friend Moses. You want to tell us a little bit about that?
Yeah, Moses is a retired LAPD guy. He specialized in um, not only homicides but sexual assaults. So every year we have him on. He comes on. He tells us how victims can get help, what to look for just in case you're being victimized, those type of things. It's a fantastic thing. It has very little to do with baseball. It has very much to do with what the community can do. So it's a great thing.
Yeah, it's in a day and age where assaults of that nature are unfortunately, and Bill, I mean, I'd love to really quickly hear your viewpoint on this, but where these types of, instances are becoming even more visible and more frequent, it's more important, in my opinion, than ever to run episodes like this where we take baseball out of the equation and talk about the serious impact of these types of events and how you can get help when necessary.
100%. And that's exactly what this is. That's exactly what um there's there's never a reason in a relationship to get physical ever.
Mm.
And so yeah,
Yeah. Yeah, I couldn't agree more. A very I am very supportive of this cause. It is something I hold true to my heart. I agree with you completely. There is nowhere in any relationship whatsoever where it should ever get physical on either side, because it's not
mhm,
just women, it is also men. But this needs to become a more visible issue in my eyes, and it needs to be taken even more seriously than a lot of other causes are being highlighted
yep,
in my in my
100%,
in my opinion.
100%. I love it.
We got a big card break coming out on the 27 Outs Club this week. Bowman 2025 just dropped. It is the fresh release, and Bill was lucky enough to get his hands on a blaster box. These boxes are so tough to come by right now. They are flying off the shelves with the release. Bill was so lucky to get that box and snag it and hold it close to his chest as he's running out of the store. But while he was running out, he saw
I
a
did
box
pay
of
for it.
2020. While he was running out the store, he did pay for it. He paid for the other box too, but he saw a box of 2022 high number and said, I gotta snag this for my boys at the 27 Outs Club. So make sure you are on Instagram Live on Monday at 6 p.m. Pacific Standard Time for a 2022 Heritage High Number and 2025 Bowman Blaster Box. It is going to be awesome. And if you are not a part of the 27 Outs Club already, make sure you get to TopFanRivalry.com and sign up. You will guarantee your team of choice that is still available in the two box breaks that Bill runs each month out of the 27 Outs Club.
100%. And
So you get
Sam,
there
what
and
I forgot
sign up.
what I forgot to mention to you is the wheel of success. If you buy two additional teams outside of your 27 ounce club, your name goes on the wheel of success. We spin it, and if you win a pack of the Bowman 2025 that came out of the box. So you may pull that pack that may have an auto. Who knows?
Gotta sign up to the out 27 Outs Club to take advantage of it, because the only way you can take advantage of that promotion is by being a member of the 27 Outs Club. So make sure you get to
Yes.
TopFanRivalry.com and make sure you sign up. Bill, one more time, we can't thank our sponsors enough. Gravity Red Productions for all the great work that they do and all the different production environments that they sit in. And Lang Roofing, thank you for putting on the best roofs in Southern California. We can't thank you enough as well for sponsoring us. Any final comments for the fans out there?
Nah, let's go fight. Let's win.
Let's go fight win. Thank you so much for joining us. As always, make sure you're checking out TopFanRivalry.com for new articles, podcast merch, the t-shirt, and 27 Outs Card Club exclusive member events like the one that's coming up on the 21st. We will talk about that next week, as well as the TFR Fan Fest every January. Thank you so much for joining us this week on ATD. We are wrapping it up. We tried to fly through this to get you back into doing what you want to do today, and we will see you on the field next week. Have a good weekend.